I hid because I thought that my Tourette's made me ugly.
I hid myself because I thought that my Tourette's made me ugly. Sometimes, the brightest smiles hide the deepest pain, and nobody understood that better than the millions of fans who followed one young woman's incredible story. Baylen Dupree, known to her followers as Baylen Out Loud, brought laughter and joy to thousands. Yet behind her sparkling eyes and infectious energy lay a struggle no one could see. Her journey started as a story of inspiration, a young girl bravely sharing her life with Tourette syndrome, but it slowly transformed into something darker, more complex. Baylen had been carrying a secret that, if revealed, would change everything her viewers thought they knew about her. The girl who made everyone laugh was fighting a battle that threatened to consume her entirely. Fans adored her, laughed with her, and admired her courage, never knowing the emotional weight she carried. Each video, each smile, each joke masked a profound loneliness, a relentless internal fight that left her questioning herself every single day. The world saw a confident, hilarious, intelligent young woman who could brighten anyone's day. Behind closed doors, Baylen questioned if anyone would ever truly understand her. This is her story, the story of a girl who refused to let her condition define her publicly, yet secretly struggled with shame, fear, and the crushing pressure of expectation. It's a story of courage, heartbreak, and resilience, a story that will leave you breathless, touched, and inspired. Baylen Dupree was just a regular girl, yet her life was shaped by an extraordinary challenge. From the very beginning, something set her apart. While other children worried about homework, making friends, or playing after school, Baylen was grappling with a condition that dictated every moment of her existence. Tourette syndrome made her body and voice act in ways she could not control, sending impulses to move, twitch, or make sounds at the most inconvenient times. Imagine sitting in a classroom trying to stay calm, while your own body rebels against you in ways no one else can see. Her early years were filled with frustration, confusion, and a longing to be normal. Baylen watched other children go through life with ease while she navigated a world that often didn't understand her. Yet even in those moments of struggle, there was a spark of resilience. She found ways to cope, to adapt, and eventually to embrace her differences, even if she didn't fully understand them herself at the time. Her family played a crucial role in these formative years. They encouraged her, laughed with her, and tried to make the challenges manageable. Her parents recognized her unique sense of humor and intelligence, nurturing a spirit that would later shine through in ways no one could have predicted. Baylen learned early that while her condition set her apart, it didn't define her. Despite this, there were times when the weight of her own thoughts felt overwhelming. She was often embarrassed, self-conscious, and afraid of how others would perceive her. Tourette syndrome wasn't just a medical condition. It was a lens through which she saw herself, often harshly. Yet she carried on, building an inner strength that would one day allow her to share her life with the world. Instead of hiding away like many others might have, Baylen made a courageous decision. She chose to share her world. What began as simple, light-hearted videos soon blossomed into something much bigger. Audiences weren't watching her just because of Tourette syndrome. They were captivated by her humor, intelligence, and bravery. Baylen had a way of making jokes about her tics that drew people in, while also showing a glimpse of her vulnerability. Her family supported her every step of the way, filming videos together, laughing, and helping her build a narrative that showed the world that being different was not something to hide. Baylen's energy was infectious. Her personality shone through every frame, making her viewers feel connected and understood. Her ability to turn challenges into humor was remarkable. As her following grew, Baylen realized that her content had a profound impact. She was not just entertaining people, she was educating them, creating empathy, and fostering understanding for those living with Tourette syndrome. Fans wrote messages about how her openness made them feel less alone, how her laughter helped them through tough days, and how her bravery inspired them to embrace their own differences. Yet, as her popularity surged, so did the pressure. Baylen wanted to remain authentic, to make content that was both funny and insightful. The The more people watched, the more responsibility she felt. Every video, every tick, every word she spoke carried the weight of expectation. People were not just viewing a young woman. They were looking up to her as a symbol of courage, someone who represented an entire community. Baylen's rise on social media was meteoric. What started as a personal endeavor transformed into a platform that touched thousands of lives. Her humor and charm were undeniable, yet beneath the surface, the stress and weight of responsibility were quietly growing. The laughter of the world hid the silent battles of a young woman determined to make a difference. Behind every bright smile and comedic video, Baylen was waging a private battle that few could understand. As her fame grew, so did the expectations, both from viewers and from herself. Baylen felt an unspoken obligation to always educate, entertain, and inspire, leaving little room for her own struggles. What the audience didn't see were the moments of doubt, the silent tears and the crushing loneliness that accompanied life in the public eye. She had become a symbol of resilience. Yet privately, she questioned whether she was living up to the impossible standards she set for herself. The constant scrutiny of millions of viewers magnified every tick, every mistake, and every vulnerability, leaving her feeling exposed and inadequate. Her family and fiancé, Colin, watched with concern as the pressure took its toll. They could see the strain in her eyes, the exhaustion that never fully dissipated, and the weight of being everything to everyone. Baylen wanted to be perfect, the ideal representation of someone living with Tourette syndrome. But the perfect facade came at a cost, eroding her confidence and self-esteem. This period of her life was a delicate balancing act. On one hand, she had a platform that could educate and inspire. On the other, the emotional demands were relentless. Baylen found herself trapped between fulfilling her role as a public figure and protecting her own fragile mental health. Every day was a fight, a challenge she faced with courage. Yet the weight of it all was becoming unbearable. It was a hidden struggle, invisible to the fans who cheered her on, and sometimes even to those closest to her. Her laughter and energy were genuine, but they were also armor, tools to hide the depth of the emotional turmoil she was experiencing. Baylen's story was no longer just about living with a condition. It had evolved into a story about survival, resilience, and the human cost of being a young woman in the spotlight. The turning point in Baylen's life came when TLC approached her with an offer that seemed like a dream. They wanted to create a show about her life, Baylen Out Loud. Suddenly, she was no longer just a social media personality. She was a television star with millions of people watching every moment of her life. At first, it felt like a victory. This was her chance to educate a larger audience, to show the world what it was like to live with Tourette syndrome, and to inspire others who faced similar challenges. Baylen threw herself into the project with energy, humor, and determination, hoping to be the perfect advocate for her community. The cameras followed her everywhere, capturing her good days and bad, moments of triumph and moments of struggle. What the cameras couldn't capture, however, was the emotional toll of this constant visibility. The pressure to maintain a cheerful, inspiring image was immense. Every misstep, every vulnerable moment was documented and broadcasted to millions, amplifying the stress and anxiety she already felt. Baylen's family and fiancé watched as she tried to balance authenticity with expectation. They knew she wanted to educate, entertain, and inspire, but the burden of being a role model weighed heavily on her. The show offered an unprecedented platform, but it also intensified the demands, leaving her little room to breathe, to rest, or to simply be herself, behind the cameras, away from the bright lights and smiling faces. Baylen's life was becoming increasingly difficult. The pressure to be perfect, to educate, to inspire, and to entertain left her exhausted. Every day, she felt the weight of representing not just herself, but an entire community of people living with Tourette syndrome. It was a burden far heavier than anyone outside her world could imagine. To cope, Baylen began therapy 4 days a week. These sessions were meant to help her manage anxiety, stress, and the overwhelming emotional strain of her life in the public eye. Yet even with therapy, the challenge of maintaining a cheerful, strong, and inspiring persona for millions of viewers was draining. The young woman who could make thousands laugh now struggled to make herself smile. Her Tourette's symptoms, already difficult, worsened under the relentless stress. The tics viewers saw on Baylen Out Loud were actually milder than what she endured in private. The constant filming, social media interaction, and the pressure to perform amplified her symptoms, leaving her feeling trapped in her own body. The very condition she wanted to normalize and educate others about was becoming harder to manage under the unyielding gaze of the camera. Baylen's fiancé, Colin, along with her parents, watched in concern as she silently bore the strain. They tried to offer support, but there was only so much they could do while respecting her independence and her determination to present a brave front to the world. Inside, Baylen was falling apart, yet outwardly, she smiled, laughed, and reassured fans that everything was okay. "I was embarrassed of who I was," she later admitted, a moment of devastating honesty that shocked her followers. These words revealed a truth her fans had never imagined. The girl who had taught them to be proud of their differences was secretly ashamed of herself. Every video, every joke, every shared moment was carefully curated, concealing the emotional storm raging within her. The combination of fame, expectation, and the innate challenges of her condition created a silent crisis. Baylen was giving everything to everyone else while losing sight of herself. Her journey had become more than just sharing life with Tourette's syndrome. It was about survival, mental health, and the struggle to remain whole under impossible circumstances. The world saw a confident, funny, and brave young woman who could make anyone laugh and educate millions with grace. What they didn't see was the private reality. The late nights spent fighting anxiety, the exhaustion from constant performance, and the private tears shed when the cameras were off. The contrast was stark. Fans admired her for her courage and openness, yet she felt increasingly invisible in her own life. The pressure of being perfect was crushing. One slip, one uncontrolled tic, or one vulnerable moment could become fodder for judgment, amplifying her internal fear of inadequacy. Baylen had to exist in two realities simultaneously: the public persona, confident and strong, and the private self, struggling to survive emotionally. Her family noticed subtle changes, tension in her body, moments of withdrawal and sudden fatigue. Colin saw her pushing herself harder than ever, refusing to let the cameras see her true state. Yet, despite their support, Baylen's sense of responsibility to her viewers and the Tourette community made it difficult to slow down. Every video carried meaning, every smile had weight, and every interaction was a performance in itself. This dual existence created a mental strain that few could comprehend. While millions celebrated her achievements, Baylen carried the quiet burden of proving herself constantly. Each laugh shared with the audience masked a deep, unspoken sorrow. The more the world loved her, the heavier the secret pain she bore became, a truth that would eventually surface in a heartbreaking revelation. Eventually, the weight of hiding her true feelings became unbearable. In a raw, emotional moment, Baylen opened up about her struggles, revealing the reality behind the smile everyone adored. She admitted that the pressure, scrutiny, and constant expectation had taken a toll she could no longer ignore. "I was embarrassed of who I was," she confessed. These words resonated deeply with fans, striking a chord of empathy and heartbreak. The young woman who had inspired so many with her humor and courage was secretly battling shame, fear, and the relentless demands of fame. Her followers learned that the visible tics were only a fraction of what she endured. Behind every laugh was a struggle to maintain composure, and behind every video was an internal battle that tested her strength. Baylen's revelation was not just a confession, it was a powerful reminder of the complexity of human experience. Public perception can never fully capture private pain, and even those who inspire others are sometimes quietly suffering. This moment marked a turning point. Fans began to understand that Baylen's story was not simply about courage in the face of a medical condition. It was about resilience under pressure, honesty and vulnerability, and the bravery it takes to confront personal demons while living in the spotlight. Baylen's journey is a testament to human resilience. Despite the immense challenges of Tourette syndrome, the pressure of fame, and the emotional toll of hiding her struggles, she continued to educate, entertain, and inspire. Her story reminds us that even those who seem strongest carry burdens unseen by the world. Through honesty and courage, Baylen transformed her pain into purpose, helping others feel less alone, fostering empathy, and redefining what it means to live openly with a neurological condition. Her experience teaches us that vulnerability is strength and that sharing our truths, no matter how painful, can create connection and understanding. Baylen Dupree, the girl who made everyone laugh, showed that courage is not the absence of struggle. It is the willingness to keep going, to be seen, and to continue sharing your story, even when the world isn't watching. Behind every viral video and televised episode, Baylen leaned on the support of the people who truly knew her. Her family, especially her parents, remained her anchor, offering love, encouragement, and a safe space to express the feelings she couldn't share publicly. Colin, her fiancé, was more than a partner. He was a quiet source of stability, helping her navigate the pressures of fame and reminding her to prioritize her mental health. Even with therapy and family support, maintaining relationships was not easy. The demands of filming and creating content often clashed with moments that should have been private and relaxing. Yet, Baylen's loved ones were patient, understanding, and protective, ensuring she never lost herself entirely to the public persona she had cultivated. Her relationships were a lifeline. They reminded her that she was more than a social media star or a television personality. They reminded her that she was human, vulnerable, and deserving of care. The deep love and unwavering support of those closest to her allowed Baylen to continue her advocacy and share her story. Even when the emotional toll threatened to overwhelm her, Baylen's journey was never solely about personal fame. She understood that her story carried a responsibility, a platform to educate and inspire. Through her videos and television appearances, she worked tirelessly to raise awareness about Tourette syndrome, dispelling myths, breaking stereotypes, and creating a sense of community for others who lived with similar challenges. She shared candid stories of her daily struggles, the tics, the exhaustion, the social misunderstandings. Yet, she also shared moments of triumph, humor, and joy, showing that life with Tourette syndrome could be rich and full of laughter. Baylen's ability to balance honesty with humor made her advocacy powerful, relatable, and deeply human. Her impact was profound. People wrote letters and messages, expressing gratitude for the visibility she provided. Many shared how her openness helped them accept their own differences and feel less isolated. For Baylen, this feedback was a reminder that her pain had purpose, that her struggles could spark understanding and hope in others. Even with support and advocacy, the constant pressure sometimes became unbearable. Baylen experienced burnout, feeling emotionally drained and mentally exhausted. The expectation to always be positive, to educate, and to entertain became suffocating, and there were moments when she questioned whether she could continue. These were days of isolation and quiet despair. While cameras captured her good moments, they missed the nights she cried alone, the times she wanted to retreat from the world entirely, and the private moments of fear that she could not share with anyone. Burnout was a silent storm, growing stronger each day, testing her resilience and challenging the boundaries of her emotional strength. Through therapy, family support, and sheer determination, Baylen began to navigate these dark days. She learned that being vulnerable wasn't weakness. It was necessary for survival. Opening up to those she trusted helped her process the intense stress. And she realized that acknowledging her limits was essential to continuing her work and advocacy. Through the highs and lows of public life, Baylen gradually moved toward self-acceptance. She learned that her Tourette syndrome, her vulnerability, and even her mistakes did not diminish her worth. Instead, these challenges became part of the story she was meant to tell, a story of resilience, courage, and authenticity. She embraced the idea that imperfection was human, and that the world didn't need her to be perfect. It needed her to be real. Baylen's personal growth was mirrored in her content, which became more open, reflective, and educational. She shared not only her struggles, but also the lessons she had learned, helping her audience understand that living with a condition, while challenging, was not a limitation on their dreams or potential. Her journey toward self-acceptance inspired millions. Fans admired her not only for her bravery but for her honesty, and her influence extended beyond awareness of Tourette syndrome. It became a lesson in embracing oneself fully, flaws and all.